Have you ever wondered why a round, hole-in-the-middle fried pastry became an unofficial symbol of America? Sounds simple, right? Some dough, deep-fried, sprinkled with sugar, and voila, a donut. But behind that sweet and innocent treat lies a transatlantic journey, layers of cultural mystery, and even a few generational battles. First question for you, what kind of donut do you like best? Jam-filled, chocolate-glazed, or the good old sugar-dusted classic? Drop a comment below. Your donut choice might say more about your personality than you think. And hey, do you remember the first time you had a donut? Where were you? Who were you with? Tell us in the comments. Sometimes, one small pastry can bring back a big memory. Here's your rehook. We're only 40 seconds in, don't scroll just yet. Because I'm about to tell you the mysterious origin story of the donut, from early Dutch settlers in America to 24-hour donut shops in downtown New York. Let's roll back the timeline. In the early 1600s, when Dutch colonists arrived in what they called New Amsterdam, today's New York City, they brought with them a fried treat called oliekoek, literally meaning oil cake. It was a doughy pastry fried in oil, with no hole in the middle, and a very common problem, the inside was often undercooked. The oil just didn't penetrate deep enough to cook it through. And guess who's credited with solving that problem? An American sailor named Hanson Gregory. Legend has it that sometime around 1847, he used a pepper tin lid to punch a hole in the center of the dough, so the pastry could cook more evenly in the oil. Makes sense, right? That little trick gave birth to the ring-shaped donut we know today, and, honestly, changed the sweet tooth game forever. If you happen to be listening to this podcast with a donut in hand, take a closer look. You're holding a global artifact. And if you know a quirky donut variation from another country, drop it in the comments. Let's collect some weird food facts from around the world. In the early 20th century, donuts exploded in popularity across America, especially during World War I. The donut Lassies, volunteers from the Salvation Army, fried and served donuts to soldiers on the front lines as a morale boost. Since then, the image of an American soldier holding a donut became a patriotic symbol, wrapped in sugar and sentiment. At this point, you might be wondering, how did a deep-fried pastry become such a cultural icon? The answer lies in its simplicity, and the emotions it carries. Donuts don't discriminate. Rich or poor, young or old, any religion, any race, everyone finds joy in that soft, sweet ring. You see them in office meetings, morning commutes, lazy Sunday breakfasts, and yes, in nearly every American cop movie ever made. Midway fun question, do you think donuts deserve the title of America's national food? If not, what snack does? Hit the comments and let the fun debate begin, because honestly, even food fights can be delicious. And that's yet another one of those weird food facts, sometimes, the most innocent-looking foods hold the deepest stories. By the mid-20th century, the humble donut had undergone a full-blown transformation into a pop culture icon. And you know what helped spark that wave? Smart marketing, and a brilliant handshake between donut shops and American TV. In 1950, a man named William Rosenberg opened his first store called Open Kettle, later renamed Dunkin' Donuts. The slogan was simple, coffee and donuts, just enough to pull in working-class folks every morning. People didn't just come to eat, they came to start their day, to chat, to feel like they belonged somewhere. And just like that, the donut went from being a breakfast treat to becoming part of the American rhythm of life. Here's a question for you, do you have a Monday donut ritual? Or maybe a favorite donut spot where the lady at the counter remembers what you order? Share that moment with us, because donuts are also a form of sweet social connection. It didn't stop at coffee shops. Donuts started popping up everywhere, in movies, pop songs, memes, and yes, even police stations. That image of a cop holding a donut and coffee, while slightly comical, became such a cultural trope it's hard to erase. The truth? Cops weren't obsessed with donuts, it's just that donut shops were among the few places open during overnight shifts. And this is where you start to realize, a donut isn't just a fried pastry anymore. It's proof that even the simplest food can climb the cultural ladder, from a Dutch fry pan to American city squares, all the way into the collective memory of a nation. Sounds a bit too serious for a pastry, doesn't it? But that's the beauty of weird food facts: the simpler the dish, the deeper the story. The evolution of the donut didn't stop there. Today, you'll find matcha donuts, mochi donuts, vegan donuts that aren't even fried, and even savory donuts. There's even a sushi donut trend, though no one's quite sure if it should be eaten with chopsticks or hands. Each new version carries the flavor of its generation, and that's exactly what keeps donuts fresh, relevant, and loved. Here's a fun one: if you could create a brand new donut flavor, what would it be? Shrimp paste, Vietnamese iced coffee, spicy chili oil. Let your imagination run wild, and comment below. Who knows? Your idea might just go viral. What I love most about donuts is how they bring people together. In a country as vast and diverse as the US, where every state has its own flavor and rhythm, the donut, small, round, sweet, becomes a rare common ground. It reminds us of sharing, simplicity, and all those unspoken feelings that don't need words. And if there's one thought I'd love to leave you with in today's podcast, it's this: every dish holds a story. Whether fancy or plain, it's tied to memory, to culture, to people. The donut is just one example out of hundreds of stories waiting to be told, and I hope, after today, you'll never see it as just a pastry again, but as a symbol, fun, flavorful, and full of meaning. One last call for stories: do you have a special donut memory? Maybe you ate too many in one sitting. Got a box from an old friend? Tried a super weird one abroad? Share your story in the comments, it might just inspire our next episode. And if you enjoy stories like this, where food, feelings, and culture mix together, hit that follow button so you never miss an episode. We're continuing this journey of learning while laughing, listening while craving, all through foods that seem ordinary but are anything but. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end. Truly, I'm grateful, not just that you listened, but that you felt something along the way. And if you know someone who's a donut lover, or simply a fan of exploring weird food facts, please share this podcast with them. Who knows? One little pastry might spark a big story, and remember, a donut might just be a tiny ring of fried dough, but sometimes, those rings are what bring the whole world closer together.